Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you on Game On. I'm Meha Bhardwaj-Alter, and if you were not entertained enough by the big upset that Afghanistan caused over England, you can thank Netherlands for the fun they provided after they stunned the informed South Africa in Dharamsala to unwrap the ghosts of previous World Cups. 2 wins in 2 World Cups for Netherlands over South Africa. And the player who twisted the knife in their chest was once their own, Roelof van der Merwe, who first helped his team with the mat and then took 2 crucial wickets to script another fairy tale win for the Orange Army. Jamie Alter is here with us. Chetan Narula will also join us in just a bit. But I think, and I suggest, that Jamie, Chetan and myself, we guys should just stop any predictions at all, because what this has done, Jamie, is that this has shown you how unpredictable this tournament can be.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Look, this is what the tournament needed, right? We've still not got that really ripping match. We've got upsets now, 2 upsets in the span of 3 days. What this does is this just opens up the World Cup, ideally. I know when I say open up, Maya, I say it fully aware that there's still 5 teams are on 2 points and only 2 teams have 6 points. But what this does is it now puts doubts in the minds of other teams who are going to be facing the Netherlands. What's an Afghanistan thinking? What's a Bangladesh thinking? What's a Sri Lanka thinking? So it's just shaping up match by match because of what Afghanistan did on Sunday. Because of what happened in Dharamsala yesterday, it's shaping up to be a somewhat unpredictable World Cup. That said, and I'm sure we will discuss this throughout the show. Like I've been saying all a while, I cannot put South Africa in any serious contention for the World Cup because of what they've done. Once again, I've been saying it. They're 1 match away from an abysmal performance, and look, it took them just 2 matches to pull out one of those abysmal performances. So let's see how it goes. But full credit to the Dutch team. We all know the obstacles teams like them overcome to get here at the World Cup. Let's hope they and Afghanistan can pull off a couple more upsets before the tournament ends.
Absolutely. But let's also talk about, South Africa and what goes wrong with them in the World Cups, Jamie. I mean, we've seen this in the past. Netherlands beat South Africa in the T20 World Cup last year and they were knocked out. I know that this win is, when you look at it, yes, it's in the group stages. Will it impact South Africa? Not when it comes to the points, because they still have a lot of games left. But psychologically, how big a blow is this for them going further into the tournament?
Does anyone really know the answer to that question? Because I think, Meha, when it comes, and our viewers watching, when it comes to South African teams, I've said this before on your show, it's not about personnel. It's not about skill. I mean, when has a South African team since readmission gone into any World Cup, Meha, not looking like a good team? I mean, I've listed the names of players in past shows, so I'm not going to go there. But again, 1992, the first time they got a World Cup chance after apartheid ended, they had a stroke of bad luck, 22 off 1 ball. That was just bad luck. 1996 quarterfinal against South Africa, Brian Lara plays a blinder, but there were also some strange selection calls made in that match. They swapped Paul Adams for another bowler, and that proved a wrong decision. 1999, I had the privilege of being at Edgbaston watching that ground. What happened there? Lance Klusener had the match in the bag. The final over bowled by Damian Martin. Lance Klusener placed 2 of the most picture-perfect along the carpet cover drives you're going to see. Then 3rd ball, he almost gets run out. Final ball, he gets run out. The match ends in a tie. 2003, they could not calculate the Duckworth-Lewis system when they had the sheets. 2007, no bad luck there. They were just beaten by a fantastic Australian team. 2011, quarterfinal, New Zealand. Hashim Amla's batting like $1 million. He cuts a ball from Nathan McCullum onto the toe of the keeper, and then the keeper takes the catch. And then Jacob Oram just pulls the ground away from them. 2015 World Cup semi-final. I was at the ground again. They picked the wrong team. They dropped Kyle Abbott. They bring back Vernon Philander, a quota player, and their 11 goes bust. It rains. They lose control. 19. They had a terrible tournament. I don't think any of us can put any rational explanation, any statistical analysis onto why South African teams may keep doing this. Something about them, as they say in Hindi, in ke upar kala saya hai, and it's just a fun team to watch because you never know what team is going to come. And I think what this match has done, yes, it's not going to impact the point table from their perspective, but it's going to put doubts in their mind. Hang on, didn't we come here without any expectations? Weren't people saying we have a good chance because no one's backing us? What the heck did we just do? So I still say they're not going to make the top four.
Okay, let's just tell you what exactly happened then in that game. In a stunning upset, Netherlands beat South Africa by 38 runs in Dharamsala to get their first points of the World Cup. Less than 12 months after losing to Netherlands in the T20 World Cup in Australia, South Africa slumped to defeat against the Dutch when set a target of 246 in a 43 overs per side match. Following this result, a single point now separates third place South Africa and ninth place Netherlands. But what a performance by the Netherlands side. Put into bat after rain delayed the toss and start of play, Netherlands were in trouble at 50 for 4 and then 112 for 6 as South Africa's pacers did well in helpful conditions. But a stunning rearguard effort that saw the Dutch finish with 245. Skipper Scott Edwards, he hit 78 from 69 balls. Roelof van der Merwe, then he smacked 29 from 19 deliveries, and at the death, Aryan Dutt played a cameo, scoring 23 from just 9. Then the target was 246. South Africa began decently, but lost Quinton de Kock, Temba Bavuma, Aiden Markram and Rassie van der Dussen in the span of 21 deliveries to cue another abysmal batting performance from a team with an unmatched history of collapsing in World Cups. From 36 for no loss, suddenly South Africa were 44 for 4. It never really got much better as each time a batter showed promise, he found a way to get out and the Dutch kept chipping away. The only batter to leave a mark was David Miller with 43. Once he was bowled by Logan van Beek, the chase was all but over. Van Beek took 3 wickets and Van der Merwe and Van Meekeren 2 each to give Netherlands their first ODI World Cup win since 2007. And what a huge moment this is for this team. Chetan Arula also joins us here. Like I was telling Jamie, maybe it's time for you to stop predictions.
Well, hi, first of all, hello, I'm in Pune, just landed here. Look, one of my predictions were right, okay? I said if Netherlands had any chance to beat South Africa, they needed to chip away the early wickets. They needed to reduce them to 20 for 4, 30 for 4, something like that. And they did that. So at least 10% of my prediction was right. But look, when we were discussing the first innings last evening, they were 140 odd for 7. And what happened in those last 5 to 7 overs completely changed the complexion of the game. I don't think that anybody saw that coming. I didn't. I don't think South Africa did. 64 runs in the last 5 overs. Unbelievable. I think that was the passage of play that changed the game. And then Netherlands just carried that momentum. And you could just see from South Africa's body language that they were panicking. Their mentality was downtrodden almost instantaneously. And I think that is what was carried into their innings. And most importantly, it was really clever, the way Netherlands used their bowling, using spin up top, denying spin to Aiden Markram and Heinrich Klaassen, and bowling pace to them. It was brilliant to see those matchups, very well calculated bowling changes. I think this is a win for the ages, even a bigger win for the ages than Afghanistan beating England. And this has, if the Afghanistan win had split the tournament wide open, this has ripped the tournament apart. Now it's just anybody's game in the next week or so.
You know what this has also done is suddenly everybody who had put South Africa into their top 4 favorites category will wonder, oh my gosh, have we gone wrong? Maybe Australia might come back there. Pakistan might, if they didn't have Pakistan in their top 4 as favorites. And Pakistan can also now go up there. That's what it's done. It has now made the tournament more unpredictable. Jamie, but I've got to talk about Scott Edwards and his impact on this before we talk about Roelof van der Merwe's and the significance, the fact that he played for South Africa before and to come and do this. He did that last World Cup as well with that brilliant catch that changed things around for Netherlands. But first, Scott Edwards with the bat, the bowling changes that he brought about, Aryan Dutt with the ball first up, as he bowled a maiden over, the way he got Roelof van der Merwe because he knew that, he's got a point to prove, he got wickets. So it was a captain leading from the front, and he'd be a happy man after that win.
Absolutely. I think let's come to the captaincy and the field marshalling second. Let's look at the innings, right?
Yeah.
Ethan rightly mentioned at 140 something for 6 or 7, very few people would have seen that kind of a finish, right? And it's because the most dependable batsman of the team stood up on the biggest day, right? Here's a guy, I believe he's born in Tonga, plays club cricket in Melbourne, These are the kind of players, Meha, that end up having a massive influence on a Dutch team that doesn't really have a robust domestic pool of players to pick on. I think 6 of the 11 or 5 of the 11 yesterday have come from some other country. So against that backdrop,
a lot of them from South Africa. A lot of them from South Africa.
So there's three from South Africa, 1 from New Zealand. Scott Edwards has also come, and then there's another. I'm forgetting his name. More than half the team, is my point, has come from somewhere else. So for Scott Edwards to get himself set to have to overcome another terrible start from the batting, he has to go and get this team to a total which he thinks should be enough. So first credit, like Chetan said, what happened afterwards is because of Scott Edwards and then Roelof van der Merwe and Aryan Dutt, like you mentioned. So when you play the innings of your one-day career to set up a team, then you get the confidence. Had he not done that, he could have. I mean, we know every single match he started with Aryan Dutt. No surprises there, But the confidence, the fact that, we could get this. I'm willing to bet. They'll never say it on record. If there's one team this Dutch team would have fancied beating, it is these jokers, South Africa, because they did it 11 months ago, right? They know. And I'm sure they're analysts. Like I said, when the three of us were reviewing Australia, South Africa, if you looked closely enough, the signs were there of South Africa becoming the South Africa of old against Australia, because where 350 was on the cards, they ended up with 311. And I said it, Maya, when de Kock was settled on 100, and I think Chetan also said that he should have got at least 150, if not more. I said, watch the day when de Kock plays a random sweep when he's not on 100, when he's on 30, 40, and see what that shot impacts the team. What happened yesterday? 36 for no loss. That joker de Kock goes and plays the same sweep, and 36 for no loss becomes 44 for 4 against Netherlands, Meha. If this team, and I believe they could theoretically get into the semifinals, watch de Kock play that shot again in a knockout match. I know they boast arguably the best top 6, but this is a team of jokers. I'm not saying chokers, I'm actually saying chokers, right? No disrespect, but a team that has Uber Eats drivers. South Africa if there was one banana skin they had to avoid, it was this match. And like I said, the best brains in the cricketing world cannot give you a reason for why this happened. Something just when it's a World Cup, I personally cannot take this team seriously. I'm really sorry.
They just collapsed under pressure. There's no other way to look at it. And I think that turnaround happened when Marco Jansen dropped a catch. But let's also take a look at what Temba Bavuma, the South African captain, had to say. He says, you've got to let the emotion kind of seep in, similar to what Jos Buttler had said after England lost to Afghanistan. He says, let's put that quote up of Temba Bavuma, the captain of South Africa. He says, you've got to let the emotion kind of seep in. Don't think there is any point in trying to forget what's happened. It's going to hurt. It should hurt. But then you come back tomorrow, you wake up, and we get back onto the journey. Our campaign is not over by any stretch of the imagination, but you've got to feel the emotion of today and come back tomorrow with the head held up. He also analyzes the shock defeat. Let's take a look at that. What does he have to say to what happened with South Africa? He says the extras, that's something you cannot control. Getting 30 extras, in fact, there were 32 extras. That's an extra 5 overs an extra 5 overs is always going to hurt you. That is a conversation for us to have, whether it's skill or a complacency thing. We got them to 112 for 6, but from that point, you're probably not looking at anything more than 200. We definitely dropped the ball there, letting them get to 240 plus. With the batting, we were still confident in chasing that score, but we didn't get any partnerships. Kudos to them. Now, this is South Africa, South African captain Temba Bavuma talking about what went wrong. And it was quite clear for all of us to see what went wrong is that this team hadn't been put under pressure in the way that they were yesterday against a team like Netherlands, and they collapsed. There's no other way to look at it. In the way they're batting collapsed, I'm just wondering, how does this impact them? I asked this question to Jamie as well. Chetan, I'm going to put that question to you as well. They already carry that baggage, okay, of the World Cup jinx. They know that they've not won it. They know things go wrong. Just all of a sudden, they're out of the World Cup. They've been knocked out at various times in different ways. How would this affect them with all the baggage that they carry of previous World Cups? Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry. If I have to give a very short answer, it would be that they'll fail to make the semi-finals. That's how badly it'll impact them. Because look at the first 2 games and how South Africa performed. I mean, they were a side which looked like the best batting unit, at least in the middle order in this tournament. Yes, like Jamie said, they should have scored 350, but they got to 311. But that happens, Sometimes batting failures happen. But at the same time, they were able to bowl out Australia. So that would have been a confidence boosting win for them. Now, losing this game in this manner, that has completely dissipated the entire confidence in that South African team. Going ahead, they will be filled with self-doubt. They will doubt themselves in crunch situations. They'll start panicking. They'll get nervous. I mean, look at the next game that's coming up. It's England. Yeah. It's a must-win game for England. And England will come hard at them. Do we expect South Africa to stand up to that challenge? If they do, that'll be great. But if they don't, we will know the reason why. And just on Temba Bavuma, we read out all of that. He comes across as a very, very confused character. I mean, I think out of all the teams, yes, he had a very good run-up to the World Cup. Statistics are good, but statistics, Jamie likes that, but I don't. And it's not like that always tell you the entire story. They don't. Temba Bavuma, does he deserve a place in that first choice 11 if there was no quota? And does he deserve to be the captain if there was no quota? If the answer to both these questions is no, then how is he opening the innings for them? How is he captaining this side? So I just don't understand how Cricket South Africa is run. And more importantly, I just don't understand the guy, no expressions. Maybe that is his personality. But what sort of confidence are you bringing to the dressing room when you're there on a quota system, when you're captain on a quota system? How does it fill that dressing room with any confidence at all? So I think this defeat is going to be the turning point for South Africa's campaign. Despite beating Australia, I did not have them as top 4 favorites. I kept them as dark horses because there's plenty that needs to go right for South Africa. And this was just the first step in the 100 things that can go wrong for South Africa.
Okay,
so Temba Bavuma doesn't inspire any confidence, and we will see that going ahead.
Jamie, do you agree, given that Temba Bavuma has actually been doing well in the ODIs for this team, and can you put the blame wholly on him?
Look, there's no doubt, that Temba Bavuma's presence in this team owes to several factors. Looking at his stats this year, the guy came into the World Cup averaging 79 with 300s in must-win situations. Okay, one was against the West Indies, but West Indies had the upper hand. So if you go into the World Cup with those kind of stats, I'm saying it's fine, you should play. But look, I mean, if we've seen how this crown sits, Sean Pollock the image of Sean Pollock looking through that window from 2003. Sean Pollock, who's regarded as one of the finest talents from South Africa, he couldn't figure out a DLS sheet. Okay, we've seen Hansi Cronje couldn't figure out how to win World Cups. AB de Villiers, he didn't have a clue how to captain South Africa. Faf du Plessis was held in high regard as a tactician. He didn't have a clue. So against that backdrop, can we expect, and I agree with Chetan, the guy looks lost. Can a lost-looking Temba Bavuma, who's not a dominant batsman, can he be held? South African captains in general have never had a clue how to deal with tough conditions. And I believe South African teams, they need vibrant leaders. Temba Bavuma does not look like a vibrant leader at all. Maybe, like Chetan said, it's in his nature. But when you do not command your presence at the crease, it's very, very tough to lead teams which, let's face it, are jokers. So yes, I believe he might not be the best player. He might not command his place in the team against far better players. But again, that is South Africa's cross to bear as a nation. I firmly believe that half the time they don't win matches is because they have karma to live up against, for so many decades of apartheid. There's no logic to what I'm saying, but something goes beyond solid cricketing reason when you come to assessing why this team keeps doing abysmal things on the cricket field at World Cups.
Okay, let's talk about Netherlands. Yes, Chetan, let's just talk about Netherlands for a bit. We've spoken about South Africa and we'll get more opportunities, but let's talk about, because this is a huge moment for them. And Jamie, you're right. I was looking at the whole team. There are very few, I think one or two who are born in the Netherlands. Everybody else, I was just going through their page. Vikramjit Singh, he's born in Punjab. Aryan Dutt, he's born in India. Maxwell Dowd from Auckland. Then there is, you already said that Scott Edwards in Tonga. There is Logan van Beek. He's born in Canterbury. Roelof van der Merwe, we know, Johannesburg. So there are very few players who are actually born there, who are part of this team. And like you said, they're obviously, cricket's not the only thing they're doing. They are part-time cricketers. They've got regular jobs. An associate nation to be able to do this, let's put it especially with the backdrop of cricket being included in LA Olympics. Do you see these guys winning, these guys making an impact? Because the only way this particular match is being talked about in such a, with so much excitement is because Netherlands beat South Africa. Do you think that this is the right time to see some of these other countries do well? Because I feel like the popularity of the sport will only grow. Jamie? Or Chetan? Okay, Chetan, why don't you take it? Then I'll come to Jamie.
Yeah, I was just going to take the Olympics example, Neha, because there are teams from Italy, Germany, Spain who are competing at the European level. They're not at the higher level, but once they do come forward, we're going to see a lot of Indian names, a lot of expat names. It's a mix of character. I mean, cricket is not as popular as the other sports in those European nations at the moment. So whatever teams, whatever players who are representing those teams are a mix of expats, mix of obviously native players as well. So it's a whole mix that is going to come out to the fore. And the Olympics, in fact, is going to be a great platform because, yes, initially you're just going to have 8 teams competing for those medals, but at least it will be a platform where the German population or the Italian population or the French population, they're going to sit up and notice and say, okay, wait a minute, this is a sport that we also want to excel at. There's a medal opportunity here. And then slowly and slowly, we might see those players, the native players coming in. But as always, from the starting point, it is going to be an expat-driven, movement, if you can say so.
Yeah.
And even now, I mean, you look at a platform like FanCode, which is their OTT arm, and there's this Sunday European League that goes on, and it's full of expat players who are playing those league matches, and that's how they keep on progressing to the next level and the next level and the next level. So initially it's going to be expat driven, whether it's from India or Pakistan or South Africa or wherever, and then slowly and slowly, once that gains momentum, we're going to see the natives also coming in.
Okay, Scott Edwards, the captain who led from the front. Let's also take a look at what he had to say after that win. He says that's a massive boost for us. In both the first two games, we were in decent positions, but we sort of fell away through the middle. Nice that we could put a few partnerships together at the end against South Africa. He says we came into this tournament with high expectations. We feel like we're playing good cricket. We've got a lot of good players, but in saying that, we know that there are 9 other very good sides here. Okay, so let's move on now. A day after Netherlands stunned South Africa, the team that provided the World Cup its first upset plays its next match against New Zealand in Chennai. Yes, Afghanistan, who on Sunday in New Delhi beat defending champions England, today meet the runners-up from 4 years ago on a track expected to aid turn. So then, will the trio of Mujibur Rahman, Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi put the Black Caps in a spin like they did to England 4 days ago? Or will New Zealand, missing Kane Williamson, after the skipper again picked up an unfortunate injury, maintain their dominance to make it 4 wins in a row? Afghanistan are coming off their greatest ODI win ever, and we like the conditions in Chennai. They've got the bowlers to trouble New Zealand, and Rahmanullah Gurbaz's 80 against England has definitely given the batting an edge, missing in previous games. Are we looking at another cracker and potentially the third upset in 4 days? Let's find out from both Jamie and Chetan. What are you expecting from this game, Jamie? Ab to predictions karna to chhod dete hain. Anything can happen. But why anything can happen is also because Chennai is a perfect track for Afghanistan's spin trio. I mean, those conditions, they'll be licking their fingers in anticipation.
You'd have to believe so, right? Because of the basis of the first match. But second match actually had a lot more in it for the Pacers. And this is why I want to talk about how impactful Fazal Haq Farooqi and Naveen ul Haq were in that epic win against England. You know, by the time Rashid Khan came on to bowl, Meha, he'd had the rare boost of 4 wickets already falling, right? And the way those two seamers, I mean, the way they troubled Joss Butler, they forced him. It was a typical test match setup, which is why Joss Butler's dismissal really is still sitting in my head. You had him drive, and then you usko bahar ki gend khilane ke liye usko andar wali ball diya, and he beat it, you know. Yeah. So yes, we all know what Nabi, Rashid and Mujib are going to do on this track, but keep an eye on Fazal Haq Farooqi and Naveen ul Haq. They're going to play. Their wickets were equally, I know they didn't get 3-wicket hauls like the other spinners did, but it's going to be a massive contest. And look, imagine, you know, with Afghanistan, what the nation has gone through in the last 8-9 days, for them to lift themselves against the defending champions. Now they're facing the runners-up from the last 2 World Cups. Yes, the Black Caps are the favorite because they've also, look, they're also not here just to have fun. They've got the players. I'm really not reading too much into the absence of Kane Williamson, the batsman, as compared to Kane Williamson, just the iconic figure. I think we've all discussed it before. When he comes, you know, the team changes. Yeah. They could probably counter his batting, but not just the captaincy. I mean, we've all give full credit to Tom Latham for what he's done. Yes, he's not in the Williamson League, but he's done a damn fine job. But what Afghanistan are going to be seeing is, acha, Abu Will Young aayega. They're going to have to make some changes. Will they drop Lockie Ferguson? The doubts have now been planted, to my mind, in the Black Caps team management, you know, and in their heads. Afghanistan don't have to change a single player. You know, things are working out. And I'm not saying we're going to see an upset, but I think we're going to see another fantastic match.
What are you expecting from the pitch in Chennai? Because the first one you saw turn, it was a slower pitch that India played against Australia, but the second one helped fast bowlers as well. Are you expecting a slower pitch, or are you expecting a lot of runs here being scored, Chetan?
No, I think given the first 2 games that were played here, we can't really expect a lot of runs. I think 280 would be still a par score on that track. But the first pitch was actually tailor-made for India against Australia. The second pitch is probably the more interesting one because that's how the Chennai pitch will play throughout the tournament. And guess who played on that pitch? It was New Zealand who played on that pitch. Yeah. So reading these conditions, if New Zealand include Ish Sodhi, finally, they haven't been playing him for the first 3 games, that would mean that the pitch is supposed to turn more than the last game New Zealand played on that track. And Bangladesh also have good spinners, but they dismantled the Bangladesh batting lineup with clever use of the short ball. Matt Henry, Trent Bolt, Lockie Ferguson in particular used that short ball really well. He knows the Bangladesh batsmen are susceptible against pace. So I think they're going to use the same plan. If Ishwari doesn't play, that means the pitch is going to behave, or New Zealand is at least is expecting the pitch to behave in the same way as the last game. And I don't really expect any more changes than the one Will Young coming in for Kane Williamson. I think they're going to use the same pace ploy against Afghanistan. Afghanistan's batting is even weaker than Bangladesh's. Of course, what happened in the last game could happen again as well.
Yeah.
I need to be careful in making any predictions as such. But I think New Zealand will have a mission. They're far too professional. Unlike England, they're there. Their mindset is there. Unlike South Africa, they have decent captains who can inspire confidence, whether it's Williamson or Tom Latham, and they're not jokers.
I love the way you're trying to balance it out. I love the way you're just trying to balance it out in case there is another upset. Nobody would have thought that South Africa would have done this, especially because of the way they played so far in the tournament. But we've seen these upsets, and now suddenly we don't know what to believe. But this is what the pitch report, at the host broadcaster's pitch report, where Sunil Gavaskar and Simon Dole were there, they've said that Australia played India on pitch number 3, and the pitch today that will be used is pitch number 5. New Zealand have beat Bangladesh just a few days ago on this surface. Looks like a belter of a pitch, no grass at all. The wrist spinners might be able to get some turn and bounce. The ball will come onto the bat nicely and will be good for stroke play. There'll be something in it for everyone. This is what Sunil Gavaskar and Simon Dole said at the pitch report. In the pitch report. Jamie, let's also talk about Afghanistan's batting and their dependence on the top 3. I think New Zealand, the one thing they'd wanted to is get them out early. Because after that, we've seen their collapses, be it in the match against India or their earlier match against Bangladesh as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think twice, at least twice, because I haven't watched all their matches. The few matches that I did tune into them, Afghanistan's openers, I believe, have got 2 double century stands this year. One against Bangladesh, which helped them win that series, and then one against Pakistan in that second match. They lost that match, but very, very clear, even to a casual watcher of this team, that the majority of their runs have either come from both the openers, Zadran and Gurbaz, or at least one of them. Middle order has been their weak link this year. It did show some spark in the first match and then in the match against England. But in the end, you need, or rather they need, Afghanistan need one of Zadran and Gurbaz to really bat deep. Gurbaz probably will be the first to admit, and I think we saw it from his reaction. I was at the ground that day, threw the helmet on the boundary, probably went and smashed a few things inside the dressing room. He threw away the best chance to get a World Cup 100. England were off that day. Wokes and Curran were abysmal. Joss Butler had a terrible day, and that was a flat track. But I think if Afghanistan happened to bat first, if Gurbaz and Zadran can sort of make life easier for the middle order, they will really fancy their chances. I believe, and feel free to weigh in, I believe Afghanistan's best chance is of squeezing runs. I don't think by any margin they're a chasing team. I think their best chance is to try and put up, like Chetan said, 280. If they do bat first and they get anywhere beyond 280, then watch this match really turn on its head. Because without Williamson, you might on that day suddenly find, the spinners doing anything. But again, what we're seeing from various reports, it looks like a flat track. So Chetan's probably right. Sodhi doesn't get a game for now 4 matches in a row. And it comes down to how I don't think England's pace bowlers are going to bowl as poorly as England's did that day. Matt Henry's been exceptional. Trent Bolt, he's not had that Trent Bolt match yet,
Jamie,
so what are the odds he rocks up and gets 4 for 30, today? So overall, things stacked in favor of the Black Caps.
Now, can you see the screen, Jamie? You said that they should bat first, Afghanistan. They won the toss and they've opted to bowl. So I think every time you said...
They've lost the match. They've lost the match.
No, this is... Okay. No, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Okay, let's just first put this out. Chetan, I'll come to you. So, the news from the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai is that Afghanistan have won the toss and they've opted to bowl. Now, this is something, this has been a trend throughout this World Cup. Teams have chosen to field first. There's a trend where we've seen actually teams that have bowled first have got those positive results. But having said that, with a team like Afghanistan, can they handle the scoreboard pressure? If New Zealand get going batting first, if New Zealand end up putting a daunting target, how do you expect Afghanistan's batting to be able to overhaul it? Yes, Chetan.
It's a classic case of Meha being a little overconfident, reading too much into your ability. And that's what happens in sport. I was just telling Jamie last night, sport is not black and white. Sport is all gray. A team like Afghanistan put up a decent, let's be honest, it was a decent batting performance against England. Not by any chance. It was an improvement on their past performance, but it was not, not an exceptional batting performance by any standard. And suddenly they feel that they can chase huge targets. What if New Zealand scores 320, 350? There is no way Afghanistan's batting will be able to chase that. So that's what sport does. That's what a win does. An exceptional win does. It just inspires confidence, maybe overconfidence, maybe an overbelief in your abilities. I think Afghanistan have misread the situation here. Their best chance, their best chance, like Jamie also said, and like I said earlier, their best chance is to bat first, get 200 on the board, and Williamson's absolutely probably take a few early wickets, follow the same template that they did against England. But now they're so confident that they feel like, oh, you know what, we did well there, we can now do anything. We want to chase, we want to bat well, they want to. But can they? That's a very, very separate question. I think that's wrong.
Okay, so Afghanistan captain Hashmatullah Shahidi said at the toss we want to bowl first. The reason is that it might be the dew factor in the second half that might impact us. Discussion was there, but we look at the opposition team and their strengths also. We look to restrict them to a low score. We had the celebration for that night, but now it's gone. The confidence we can take into this game, we're going with the same team. This is what he said. So they've gone in with the same team, Jamie. But do you echo Chetan's thoughts as well? Why tamper with anything? That's the way you've got success. Just bat first. Put the opposition under pressure with your bowlers later on. Your bowling is much better than your batting.
Look, you both have heard me enough times. I don't care who's playing. I think most teams will stand the chance to do well if they bat first, because like Chetan just said, I believe this applies to every team. Would you rather back yourselves to put up 330 or chase 330? Yes, there's dew. Yes, you have fantastic. But I think Afghanistan, exactly, I was going to say the same thing. Chetan already said it. It's just the overconfidence factor. You're not a team that consistently wins World Cup matches. You won just two, so stick to what's working for you. I mean, look, I mentioned the two fast bowlers. Can you imagine if they can just repeat that performance from 4 evenings ago? You will have the Black Caps under tremendous pressure, Imagine Will Young getting out, Devon Conway getting out, or even, Will Young and number 3. Having Daryl Mitchell, having Tom Latham walk out and knowing, yaar, abhi tak to Rashid Khan ne bol bhi nahi dala, So I believe it's the bad call. I wish them all the best. I would love an upset, but I would have much rather fancied this team doing exactly what they did to England under lights in Chennai.
Okay, so that's the Afghanistan playing 11, and now this is the New Zealand playing 11. They made one change where Will Young has come in place of Kane Williamson. Tom Latham wasn't sure of what to do at the toss. He says, looks like a good surface. Batting first will be good for us, and hopefully we can put up a good total on the board. Spoke about how this team needs to adapt to every ground, every team and every surface. That's important. Not 100% sure. It might be slightly better than the last game. So I think it was a good toss to lose for Tom Latham. He wasn't sure of what to do. But guys, what are you expecting in the first innings from New Zealand? Give me a score. We'll not predict the result just yet. At 6 o'clock is when we'll talk about it. Let's give the score. Come, Chetan.
That's a prediction only, no? That's a prediction only. I'm not 325.
Okay. Jamie? Who's gonna be the highest scorer? I'm guessing there'll be 100 in there.
Either Devon Conway or Rachin Ravindra.
Okay. Gone with the safe options. Jamie?
No, I mean, they are the ones
who are scoring. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing less than 310, I believe. I mean, a lot of predictions have gone off. I'll say
I love this. Yeah.
315. I think they'll lose it at the end. 315 for 8 with 100 to either Conway or Rachan Ravindra.
Okay. Okay, at 6 o'clock, we'll figure that out, whether who's been proved right. But guys, thank you so much, Chetan Narula and Jamie Alto, for joining us here. Hope we have a good game. We've already seen two upset. What is it going to be today between Afghanistan and New Zealand? Join us at 6 for all the latest from this World Cup. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.